Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching the Today I Found Out YouTube channel, and in the video today we're answering the question, how do astronauts go to the bathroom in space? Well, the simple answer is very carefully. Ever since Yuri Gagarin was first launched into space on April 12, 1961, engineers and space travelers have had to face the problem of how to go and where to put the waste. The birth of space travel. In the early years of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, manned space flights were to be so short that the astronauts were reasonably expected to simply hold it. For example, the mission that sent the first American into space was only expected to last 15 minutes. Forgetting to expect the unexpected, NASA engineers assumed that Freedom 7's pilot would be free of the cockpit long before nature called. Yet on the morning of May 5, 1961, after astronaut Alan Shepard was forced to sit through several hours of delays, he realized, man, I gotta pee. With no good options available, it was decided that Shepard should pee in his spacesuit after its electronics were temporarily deactivated, with the hope that his peeing in the suit wouldn't short out his biosensors and give him a jolt in the process. The hack was mostly successful in that he didn't electrocute himself and he no longer had to pee, but it did ultimately short the sensors. Soon after, Shepard became the first American in space, soaking in his own urine. By the time John Glenn became the first American in orbit in the 4-hour-plus Mercury-Atlas 6 mission on Friendship 7 in February 1962, NASA engineers had developed a sealed system that connected the astronaut to a secure storage system via a condom-like device. As the technology advanced, the missions were longer. By the time the Apollo 11 astronauts landed on the Moon on July 20, 1969, NASA had developed a urine and fecal containment system that was worn by the astronauts under their spandex. One small step for man with a load in his pants. The Space Shuttles. Luckily for the astronauts, NASA made advancements. For spacewalks and other suit work, special high-tech diapers were, and still are, worn that can absorb an astonishing amount of liquid. In addition, by the time of the shuttle era, a special space privy had been developed. Relying on air pressure, the toilet worked by a simple design. Liquid waste is sucked into a plastic funnel on the end of a trunk-like tube and deposited into the base's urine container, which vents into space when filled. Outside, the urine sublimates and eventually turns into gas. To use the tube, lady astronauts were able to securely place the cup-shaped funnel directly against their bodies, so no urine escaped. Male astronauts were not so lucky and must carefully remain close to the suction tube without getting vacuumed in. As one NASA trainer said, "We do not want men docking." Solid waste was also sucked straight into a bowl, but then stored until the craft returns to Earth, because, as one commentator noted, sending poo hurtling 17,500 miles per hour through space would be bad for business. To properly put the poop where they wanted it, shuttle inhabitants used the Space John's foot straps and thigh braces. In order to place the fecal matter just so, NASA astronauts spend a lot of time in training sitting on space toilets to learn how to create a strong seal and how to align themselves properly. In fact, at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, one of the bathrooms is equipped with 2 space toilets, one for actual use and the other for training. A positional trainer has a video camera beneath its rim and a television monitor on the table in front of it. Taking a lot of glamour out of the business of being an astronaut, one spaceman termed the training toilet the deepest, darkest secret about space flight. And how about on the International Space Station? The loo on the International Space Station, ISS, works on much the same principle as the Space Shuttles. A former commander of the ISS, Captain Sunita Williams, when discussing its facilities, noted that it's pretty small and you have to have a pretty good aim and be ready to make sure things go in the right direction. Not completely uncivilized, toilet paper is provided, and it is an international facility, so more than one kind is available to meet the preferences of its cosmopolitan crew. Gloves and disinfectant wipes are also provided, in case things get really out of control. But despite all of the precautions, as Captain Williams noted, the #1 stuff can get really all over the place if you don't aim it correctly. The space throne malfunction. As with any technology, glitches are bound to happen. In July 2009, with a record 13 people aboard, one of the ISS commodes broke down. Luckily, the station had another potty that remained functional. In addition, the astronauts who had come on the Space Shuttle Endeavour were able to use that, although they could not vent liquid as designed because the spray would hit a portion of the Japanese lab, which could potentially corrode expensive machinery. The next day, in true MacGyver fashion, the station commander and a flight engineer replaced certain components and repaired the lab to the relief of everyone. Recycling in space. Perhaps a result of guilt from the huge litter problem caused by 50 years of space exploration, the ISS has taken steps to become more green by recycling urine. The new system takes the combined urine of the crew from the toilet, moves it to a big tank where the water is boiled off and the vapor collected. The rest of the contaminants, the yucky brine in the urine, is thrown away. The water vapor is mixed from water from air condensation, then it goes through filters much like those put on home taps. Astronauts report that the recycled water tastes great, although they do acknowledge that it comes with the label, "Drink this when real water is over 200 miles away." So I really hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please give us a like below, it really helps out. And don't forget to subscribe because we have loads of other videos just like this and are making new ones all the time. Also, over there on the right, a couple of other videos you'll probably enjoy if you enjoyed this one, and thank you for watching.